Good morning. Let's see where we are this week. In week 1, we're going to introduce the idea of learning as something to be conceptualized and something to be experienced. In other words, learning as a concept, as something to be studied, and learning as a process, something to be experienced. This information you will find on page 1. So please carefully read the text on page 1. At the bottom of page 1, you'll see a list of learning objectives for Unit 1. Learning as a concept. When you watch a baseball game, you go to a stadium. When you want to watch a movie, you go to the cinema. The stadium and the cinema are structured environments where these recognized events happen. In education, the classroom is the place where learning is expected to happen. Take a look at the picture on page 2. Is learning something we can see? The picture indicates that the teacher is giving knowledge and the students are receiving knowledge. But how do we know that that transaction has actually occurred? How do we know that learning has happened? Despite learning being a very commonplace word and activity, it's actually very difficult to define because it is inclusive of so many different aspects. On page 3, you can read 2 definitions of learning. After reading these definitions, maybe you can imagine words and ideas that create a mental image of learning. However, the definitions are incomplete because what about the application of knowledge, a demonstration of knowledge? Let's turn to page 4 and look at learning as a process. Let's take a look at 6 different cognitive process dimensions as shown in the images on page 4. This is known as Bloom's Taxonomy of learning. On page 5, you'll see a list of associated verbs or actions connected with the 6 different cognitive process dimensions of Bloom's. Page 6 presents a summary of each of the 6 cognitive dimensions. It's provided in both English and Japanese, and please read these carefully. Which nicely leads us on to this week's tasks. Task 1 is to write 150 words answering the question, what is learning? Task 2 is to prepare a very short PowerPoint slideshow indicating your most preferred cognitive process dimension of learning and explain why with specific examples. Remember, please upload your text and PowerPoint to Hope. Okay, I'm finished for today and I look forward to presenting the materials of week 2 next week. Take care.